So, slightly unusual day on the farm today. Looks normal from that angle. Look around there. We've got 60 crew and about 30 vehicles on site shooting a music video. It's actually something which historically has happened loads on this farm over the last 50 years. And yeah, this little video is just about how to get involved in that. If you're a farmer, landowner, that sort of thing, who interested in hosting a few random things like this. We're starting to do it quite a lot, so a little video all about hosting shoots. Roughly speaking, when someone wants to create some sort of professional video, there'll be a sort of creative brief, and then a director will brief a team on what he wants. So it could be in a school, in an industrial setting, in a field, on the moon, whatever it is. And then a locations manager will then be sent out to find places to film these scenes within whatever budget they've got. Now, a lot of filming, big budget stuff, will obviously take place in studios, but studios are very high-tech places and extremely expensive to hire. So if you can do it outside of a studio, you can save a load of money potentially. And if you can do it outside of a studio but inside the M25, i.e. a farm like ours, you can also save a load of money, because as soon as you start going outside of London, budgets for costs and crew and travel and everything start to get exponentially very expensive. So a farm like ours is in theory quite an appealing place to do some filming. So in order to get onto the radar of location managers, location scouts, people like that, you're probably going to be wanting listed with a locations agency. So when we first moved in, actually, we registered with a load of them, the ones that sort of appear on the top of Google. Never actually heard much. I think we had like one recce in about 4 years. A couple of years ago, we started working with the guys at Farm Locations, who are a farm-specific locations agency, and since then we've had loads. We've had about 4 shoots in the last month, in fact, which is pretty wild. Big ones, small ones, kind of all sorts. But working with them, it means we're on their radar, and as soon as they get briefs in, they know what locations, what sort of buildings, landscapes, etc. Everyone's got an appointment away. From then, you might get someone coming to have a look, so you have a little recce, so it might be a director or a DOP or producer, comes and checks it out. If it's going to work, they'll probably look at 3 or 4 locations for any scene, and if you're lucky, they'll pick you. It tends to be pretty short turnaround, so there's a real premium on getting back to messages quickly. Like, we've had shoots which have been message on a Monday, visit that afternoon, filming on a Tuesday, so quite a quick turnaround. But if you're able to do that, that's definitely the best way to kind of get your foot in the door. So yeah, if you're lucky, you'll get a recce, and then probably have to move quite fast if they want to carry on and book it. Film crews are generally pretty self-sufficient, so at its basic level, all you need to give them is space. For a small crew, like we've had crews of sort of less than 10 people, they'll probably have 3 parking spaces and 1 part of the farm, be it a barn, 1 or 2 outdoor spaces. Not at all disruptive or intrusive. Sort of a little middle ground depending on the budgets. And then you get to days like today. We had another one last year for eBay where we had 80 crew on site, 60 today. So there's about 30 vehicles and a fair bit of infrastructure. So we have to make sure we've got space for everything. But as long as you know what's coming in advance, it's not a problem for us to make sure everyone's got enough parking, enough room. So one of the great things about filming is it's very much passive income. It's not quite money for nothing, but it's kind of unforecasted bonus revenue, which you don't have to do a huge amount for. And so particularly once you're on the radar, you should start getting more recce's, more visits, and more stuff coming in. On the day, you certainly do need to be around. There's always something to do. Today I've had to tow a van out, which got stuck, which is going to happen. Might have to go up a ladder, lend them something. A water jug, a bottle opener, that sort of thing. There's always something which is needed. Yeah, on the whole, you don't need to be too hands-on, which is quite nice. Particularly with the bigger crews, always extremely professional and know what they're doing and are very self-sufficient. They're used to doing this sort of stuff every day. Example of the random nature of days like this. So it's all going well, but as ever, time pressure is creeping up on everyone. Just picked up the Land Rover with a trailer on, just to help them cart some stuff back from the field so they can get it back for their next scene. Sort of a good example of why you need to be around. Don't always need to do things like this, but there's always a job to do. And also, they wanted an umbrella because it's the 9th of May and it's the first hot day of the year, having rained solidly for about 6 months, and they need some shade. They do actually have quite a lot of gazebos down here, but yeah, one more brolly apparently will be useful. So on our farm we've had shoots in all sorts of different places, inside barns, in the house actually, in fields, random corners of random spaces. There's always demand for all sorts of random things, so the more kind of interesting, diverse locations you have, I'd say generally the better. Today, we made the pretty unusual step of actually allowing them to film in a wheat field. It's the start of May, it's kind of peak growing season. That's not something we should normally do, but actually these guys have got a very specific brief to stay within tram lines in a couple of areas of the field. So far they've been very well behaved, and we've got a little clause in the contract just in case there is any damage, but I don't actually think we'll need to do that. But yeah, that length of green wheat is what they're after. That's what I got. This field is a cover crop which is mostly oil radishes, which has got some really lovely white and purple flowers at the moment, which is actually someone filmed a video in there last week because they're after a field of interesting looking flowers, which is actually the reason why this week's shoot got picked up, just on the back of seeing the visuals of this one. So if you've got cover crops with nice flowers or any like wildflower meadows, that sort of thing, there seems to be a huge demand for interesting looking nice green spaces and fields. So there's a few things that we've got which are definitely helpful in securing bookings. Things like having a crew base, so we've got our co-working space in the gym reception, so 15-20 people can happily sit in there, charge devices, use the Wi-Fi, have a little meeting, that sort of thing. Very useful space to have for a crew of that size. Today it's just in use for talent, just because there's 60 people on site, but having that kind of space which you can just give to them to use with their own loos is really handy. Parking is obviously useful. Today we've got around 30 vehicles on site which you need room for, and we've got to have room for existing gym customers and other stuff as well. Electricity dotted around the farm. They quite often want to plug lights in and all sorts of other stuff which you wouldn't believe the amount of kits needed for filming at any kind of scale, but they can bring generators if needed, but obviously the more you can offer, the easier it is logistically, quieter as well, better for everybody. Having a cafe on site is obviously also handy, A, because we can cater food and drink for film crews, and B, we can sell them extra coffees during the day, which is handy as well. But yeah, having that set up, people appreciate good coffee. I think your generic film set catering is a kind of black mud in a metal urn, so being able to offer a nice little flat white on the side is always appreciated. And I then failed to record any audio for the rest of the evening, so this is us wrapping up about 8 o'clock. Beautiful few last scenes shot at sunset over the hayfield here, and yeah, great day. Everyone had a good time. They got everything they needed. I saw a few of the rushes on the day. The footage is incredible. I can't wait to see it. There's a couple of things you're probably wondering. Number one, who was it? Well, at this stage I can't actually say. There is a little bit of necessary sort of NDAs and secrecy about talent, but I can say it's comfortably the biggest name that we've had here, and I'm really excited, A, about seeing the video, and B, being able to share it because it's going to make the farm look incredible. And secondly, how much money do you get for hosting shoots? It varies massively. If you've got a small thing with a small crew for a half day or full day, you're looking at hundreds of pounds, potentially high hundreds if there's maybe 20 plus crew. And then on something like this, where if you've got a single day, large crew, low thousands, particularly music shoots have lower budgets than TV, commercial, film work. And then obviously the biggest ones, if you get multi-day, you know, someone like a Netflix comes along and wants to shoot for a week or something. We haven't had that yet. But yeah, that's where the money starts to ramp up a bit. But yeah, the best thing is it costs nothing on the bottom line for us to host things like this, apart from a bit of time and presence, and it's all great bonus income. So if you've got any questions, please post them below, Instagram us, email us, whatever. It's something we're learning a lot about, we're doing a lot of at the moment. We really enjoy it. It's a great thing for, if you're a farmer with limited time, you don't have the resources and the energy to put into starting something from scratch, like a cafe or a campsite or a gym like we've done or anything else. This is a great way of just doing something which adds a little bit to your farm as a business without having to put too much effort in from your side. And you'd be surprised what is popular. Often derelict, unused buildings, which you might think are a bit of a mess, is actually what they're after. So don't be put off by what you may or may not have. Give it a go and see what happens. Catch you in the next one.